Welcome to Delta Wave History, your sanctuary for functional, historical boredom. Our focus will remain on the historical, methodical, numerical, and the procedural. This allows your mind to unwind and drift into historical details. Please adjust your volume for a consistent, even tone. We aim for a predictable vocal rhythm, devoid of sudden shifts in pitch or intensity, designed to facilitate a state of tranquil observation and sleep, if you wish. In the year 1635, a foundational decree was issued in Britain. King Charles I, through a royal proclamation dated July 31st, established what would become the initial public iteration of the postal service. Prior to this, postal communication was primarily a private network, reserved for royal and government dispatches. The 16350 proclamation opened this system, designating a chief postmaster for England and Scotland. Rates were standardized for a single sheet letter. For distances up to 80 miles, the charge was 2 pence. Between 80 and 140 miles, it was 4 pence. And for distances exceeding 140 miles, the cost was 6 pence. These costs were substantial, equivalent to a significant portion of a laborer's daily wage. This early system, though formalized, was geographically restricted and financially exclusive, serving a limited segment of the population. The initial method of mail transport relied heavily on post riders, often on horseback, and in some areas, foot posts. This system, while functional, presented numerous operational bottlenecks. Riders typically traversed routes at average speeds of 4 to 5 miles per hour. A letter dispatched from London to Bristol, a distance of approximately 118 miles or 190 kilometers, could take over 24 hours to reach its destination. The maximum speed was often dictated by horse endurance and road conditions, which were frequently unpaved and irregular. Security was also a significant concern. The mail, carrying valuable documents and sometimes currency, was vulnerable to highwaymen. These inefficiencies led to inconsistent delivery times and high associated risks, ultimately limiting the operational throughput of the burgeoning postal network. By the late 18th century, the demand for a more reliable and efficient postal service grew. John Palmer, a theatre owner from Bath, observed the disparate speed and security of private coaches versus the official postal system. In 1782, he proposed a radical solution, using specialized, fast-moving coaches to carry the mail. His proposal highlighted the benefits of increased speed and enhanced security. The initial mail coach service commenced on August 2nd, 1784, operating the route between Bristol and London. This 118-mile journey, previously an arduous endeavor, was now projected to be completed with significantly improved regularity and safety. Palmer's innovation marked a pivotal shift from individual post riders to a coordinated, scheduled transportation network, fundamentally altering the operational dynamics of mail delivery. The mail coaches themselves were purpose-built, evolving in design over the decades. Typical dimensions for a 4-horse coach included a length of approximately 16 feet or 4.9 meters, a width of 7 feet or 2.1 meters, and a height of around 9 feet or 2.7 meters. The rear wheels often had a diameter of 4 feet 8 inches or 1.42 meters, while the front wheels were smaller, around 3 feet 6 inches or 1.7 meters. Coaches were pulled by teams of 4 horses, rotated at regular intervals of approximately 10 to 15 miles or 16 to 24 kilometers. This system allowed for sustained speeds. On average, mail coaches maintained a speed of 7 to 8 miles per hour or 11 to 13 kilometers per hour. including stops. On clear stretches of road, speeds could momentarily reach 10 to 12 miles per hour. This predictable schedule and consistent speed represented a significant technological and logistical advancement. The operational efficiency of the mail coach system rapidly expanded. By the year 1797, just 13 years after its inception, there were 42 mail coach routes originating from London. These coaches collectively covered approximately 4,000 miles or 6,400 kilometers of road daily. Just a few decades later, in 1836, the network had grown even further, with over 70 mail coach routes traversing the country. Security was paramount. Each coach carried an armed guard, distinctively uniformed in scarlet. These guards were equipped with a blunderbuss and 2 pistols, providing a deterrent against theft and ensuring the safe transit of mail. The establishment of a fixed timetable, coupled with enhanced security, dramatically improved the reliability and safety of postal communication, thereby increasing its perceived value and encouraging its broader utilization across economic sectors. Despite the improvements brought by mail coaches, significant operational bottlenecks persisted concerning postage payment. Until 1840, the general practice was for the recipient, not the sender, to pay for the letter. This system led to frequent refusals to accept letters, especially for those who could not afford the charges. The cost of postage was complex, calculated based on both the distance the letter traveled and the number of sheets of paper it contained. For example, a single sheet letter from London to Edinburgh, approximately 400 miles or 650 kilometers, could cost as much as 1 shilling 1/2 pence in 1839. A 2-sheet letter for the same journey would cost 2 shillings 3 pence, doubling the initial rate. These variable, often high, costs were a considerable deterrent to communication, stifling both personal correspondence and commercial exchange. The need for a reform to address these systemic issues became increasingly apparent. Rowland Hill, an English teacher, inventor, and social reformer, published a seminal pamphlet in 1837 titled Post Office Reform: Its Importance and Practicability. Hill's proposals were revolutionary. He advocated for 2 core principles. First, that the cost of postage should be uniform, regardless of distance, within the British Isles. And second, that the payment should be made by the sender, ideally through a prepaid adhesive label or wrapper. His analysis demonstrated that the cost of conveying a letter across the country was a minuscule fraction of the overall postage charge, with collection and delivery constituting the bulk of the expense. His vision of a uniform penny rate for a letter up to ½ ounce, paid in advance, laid the groundwork for modern postal systems. Rowland Hill's reforms culminated in the introduction of the world's first adhesive postage stamp, the penny black. Its design featured a profile of the young Queen Victoria, based on an 1834 portrait by William Wyon. The stamp's dimensions were approximately 19 millimeters wide by 22 millimeters high, with a thickness of around 0.1 millimeter. It was printed by Perkins, Bacon and Petch using a line engraving process, which allowed for intricate detail and made counterfeiting more difficult. The paper used was a slightly blued, watermarked paper, and the adhesive on the back was a dextrin-based gum. Each sheet contained 240 stamps, arranged in 12 rows of 20, representing £1 per sheet. The initial print run involved a staggering quantity, with millions of stamps produced in preparation for its launch. The penny black was officially introduced for public use on May 6, 1840. Its impact was immediate and transformative. The uniform rate of 1 penny for any letter up to ½ ounce, paid in advance, democratized communication. The immediate effect on mail volume was dramatic. In the year preceding the reform, 1839, approximately 76 million letters were handled by the British Post Office. Following the introduction of the penny black in the single year of 1840, this volume surged to 168 million letters. By 1850, the annual volume had further escalated to 373 million letters, representing an increase of over 350% in just one decade. This unprecedented growth underscored the latent demand for affordable and accessible postal services, effectively overcoming the previous bottlenecks of cost and payment complexity. The introduction of the penny black and the uniform penny post marked a global paradigm shift in postal administration. Within a few years, numerous other nations began adopting similar systems. Brazil issued its bullseye stamps in 1843, followed by the United States with its first general issue stamps in 1847. By 1860, approximately 40 different countries or postal administrations had issued their own adhesive postage stamps, directly influenced by the British innovation. The British postal system, from its rudimentary 1635 proclamation to the sophisticated 1840 reforms, demonstrates a continuous evolution driven by economic necessity and technological advancement. This journey, from costly, recipient-paid, complex mail to affordable, sender-paid, standardized postage, significantly impacted global commerce and personal communication, creating a network that continues to facilitate connection across vast distances, a silent testament to sustained operational improvement. Discover more history by watching the next video. We're eager to share more with you. You can't go wrong. All our videos are deeply detailed, dull while fascinating, and distinctly sleep-inducing. But